Chapter 1. Introduction of the Space Station and the Carter Family's Past. John Carter sat at the kitchen table, flipping through an old photo album. Each page was a snapshot of memories from years spent at the Orion space station. The young, vibrant faces in the photos had given way to the wisdom and wear of the years. Emma Carter walked in, carrying a cup of coffee. She noticed John's pensive expression and sat down beside him with a smile. "Thinking about the old days again?" she asked. John nodded, a wistful smile playing on his lips. "Yes. Life was so different back then. Working at Orion, being out there in the vastness of space. It was incredible." Emma placed her hand on John's. "Those years at Orion were unforgettable. But we have wonderful memories here too, in this quiet life. And we have Lucas with us, which is the most important thing." John looked around their modest home. It was a far cry from the advanced technology and sleek design of the space station. Here, the walls were adorned with family photos and memorabilia from their time in space. Each item told a story, a chapter of their lives that they cherished deeply. Just then, Lucas burst into the room, his face lit up with excitement. "Mom, Dad, you have to see this." He was holding a holographic tablet, clearly eager to share his latest project. John smiled at his son's enthusiasm. "Let's see what our young engineer has come up with this time," he said. Lucas activated the tablet, displaying his latest design. "This is a new space probe model. It's designed to be more energy efficient and can operate for longer periods." John ruffled Lucas's hair affectionately. "You're always working on something impressive. Just like your old man." Lucas beamed with pride. "I want to be just like you, Dad. A great engineer." Emma watched the interaction with a mix of pride and concern. The recent news of strange occurrences around the world had everyone on edge. She knew John sensed it too, even if he didn't say it out loud. That evening, as the family sat down for dinner, the holographic news display floated above the table, casting a soft glow in the dimly lit room. "This just in, reports from various parts of the world indicate a sudden increase in missing children cases. Authorities are baffled as to the cause of these disappearances, with no clear patterns or clues left behind." Emma's grip tightened on her fork. "It's happening more often now," she said, her voice trembling slightly. John nodded grimly. "It's not natural. I have a bad feeling about this." Lucas looked between his parents, worry etched on his young face. "Do you think it could be something from space?" John and Emma exchanged a glance. They had always been honest with Lucas about their work and the potential dangers that came with it. But this felt different, more personal. "We don't know, son," John replied carefully. "But we'll find out. We'll keep you safe." In the days that followed, the Carter family tried to carry on with their routine, but the unease lingered. John spent hours poring over news reports and scientific data, searching for any clue that might explain the sudden surge in disappearances. Emma, too, was restless, often finding herself gazing out the window, lost in thought. One evening, as John and Emma sat together in the living room, a report came on the news that sent chills down their spines. Breaking news: another child has gone missing, this time from a small village in the mountains. Witnesses report seeing strange lights in the sky shortly before the child vanished. John sat up straight, his heart pounding. "Emma, did you hear that? Strange lights in the sky. It sounds like something out of one of our missions." Emma nodded, her face pale. "Do you think it could be?" "I don't know," John said, his mind racing. "But we need to be prepared. Just in case." As the weeks passed, the disappearances continued, each one more baffling than the last. The authorities were at a loss, unable to find any concrete evidence or leads. Fear and panic began to spread, with parents keeping their children close and communities growing increasingly suspicious of any unusual activity. Back at the Carter residence, the sense of unease grew. Despite the news and the growing tension, John tried to maintain a semblance of normalcy for his family. He installed new security systems and double-checked the locks every night. Emma did her best to keep Lucas's spirits up, but the boy was perceptive. He could sense the fear in his parents' eyes. One night, as the family slept, the unthinkable happened. A low hum filled the air, followed by a blinding light that pierced through the darkness. The alarm systems John had meticulously installed went off, but they were too late. Emma woke to find Alex's crib empty. Her heart pounded in her chest as she screamed, "John! They've taken him!" John sprang into action, but the house was eerily quiet. The security cameras showed nothing but static. He knew in his heart that the aliens had come for them. The next days were a blur of police reports, interviews, and fruitless searches. The Carters were devastated. Alex, their precious baby, was gone. John and Emma spent hours at the police station, answering questions and reviewing footage, but there was no trace of Alex or any clues as to who had taken him. The local authorities were sympathetic but overwhelmed, dealing with similar cases across the region. The news of the abduction spread quickly, sending shockwaves through the community and the world. The realization that even former space station workers and their families were targets brought a new level of fear. People began to speculate wildly, with theories ranging from human traffickers to secret government experiments. John couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more to it. He spent sleepless nights combing through old mission logs and scientific journals, searching for anything that might explain the disappearances. Emma, meanwhile, threw herself into her work, hoping that staying busy would keep her mind off the aching void left by Alex's absence. Lucas, too, struggled to cope. He missed his baby brother terribly and felt a deep sense of helplessness. He tried to focus on his projects, but the joy he once found in his work had been replaced by a gnawing anxiety. One evening, as John sat hunched over his desk, a familiar voice broke through his reverie. "John, it's Alex Novak." John's heart skipped a beat. "Alex, it's been a long time." "I know. I'm sorry to call you under these circumstances, but we need to talk. I've been monitoring some unusual signals, and I think they might be related to the disappearances." John felt a glimmer of hope. "What have you found?" "Not much yet, but it's a start. We need your expertise, John. Can you come back to the station?" John glanced over at Emma, who had been listening to the conversation. She gave him a small nod. "We'll be there," he said. The next morning, the Carters began packing for their journey back to the Orion space station. It was a bittersweet moment, filled with a mix of hope and dread. They knew that finding Alex was a long shot, but it was a chance they had to take. Lucas, despite his young age, understood the gravity of the situation and vowed to help his parents in any way he could. He was determined to see his brother again and was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they boarded the shuttle that would take them to the space station, John looked back at their home one last time. It felt like they were leaving a part of themselves behind, but he knew they had to move forward. The fight was far from over. Chapter 2. Return to the Orion space station. Carter family's decision. John Carter stood at the edge of his yard, staring at the night sky. It had been weeks since Alex was taken, and each day felt like a lifetime. The stillness of the night was a stark contrast to the turmoil he felt inside. Emma joined him, her hand slipping into his. "We have to go back," she said softly, her voice breaking the silence. John nodded. "I know. It's the only way we'll find him." The next morning, John received a call from Dr. Alex Novak, the medical director of the Orion space station. "John, we need you back at the station. We've detected unusual signals, and we believe they might be related to the recent abductions." John agreed immediately. They packed their bags and prepared Lucas for the journey ahead. Lucas, despite his young age, understood the gravity of the situation and vowed to help his parents in any way he could. Arrival at the Orion space station. The Orion space station was a marvel of human engineering. As the shuttle approached, Lucas's eyes widened in awe. "Wow, it's even bigger than I imagined." John smiled, though his heart was heavy with the weight of their mission. "It's home, Lucas. It always will be." The shuttle docked smoothly, and they were greeted by a familiar face. Dr. Alex Novak was waiting for them, his expression a mix of relief and concern. "John, Emma, it's good to see you both. I'm sorry it has to be under these circumstances." "Let's find Alex," John said, his voice determined. The station was just as they remembered it, a bustling hub of activity and advanced technology. As they walked through the corridors, memories came flooding back. Emma felt a pang of nostalgia mixed with the urgency of their current mission. The team got to work immediately. Emma joined the biological research team, hoping to find clues in the alien biology that might help locate their son. John and Lucas worked with the engineering team to analyze the signals and improve the station's defenses. Discovering clues. Days turned into weeks as the Carters immersed themselves in their work. One evening, Emma discovered a pattern in the alien DNA sequences they had recovered. "John, look at this," she said, pointing to the screen. "These sequences are similar to human DNA, but there's something else, a kind of marker." John leaned in, studying the data. Could it be a signature? A way to identify their own kind? Emma nodded. "It's possible. If we can isolate this marker, we might be able to track it." Meanwhile, Lucas made a breakthrough with the signals. "Dad, I think I've found something. These signals aren't just random. They form a map." John's eyes widened. "A map to their base?" Lucas nodded. "It's not complete, but it's a start." The information was brought to Dr. Novak, who studied it carefully. "This could be the lead we've been looking for. If we can pinpoint the location of their base, we might be able to rescue Alex and the other children." Preparing for the mission. With the new information in hand, the team began preparing for a mission to locate the alien base. Dr. Novak assembled a team of scientists and engineers, while John and Emma focused on gathering supplies and briefing the crew. "Are you sure about this?" Dr. Novak asked John one evening. "It's dangerous." John nodded. "We don't have a choice. We need to find Alex." Lucas, overhearing the conversation, stepped forward. "I want to go too." John shook his head. "It's too dangerous, Lucas." "But Dad, I can help. I found the map. I know the signals," Lucas insisted. Emma placed a hand on John's arm. "He's right, John. We need him." Reluctantly, John agreed. The family would go together, as they always had. The station was abuzz with activity as the team prepared for departure. Equipment was checked and rechecked, and each member of the mission was briefed on their specific role. There was a sense of urgency and determination that permeated the atmosphere. Emma spent her last night before the mission in the lab, reviewing the data one more time. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something, a crucial piece of the puzzle. As she stared at the screen, a thought struck her. What if the marker in the DNA wasn't just a signature, but a beacon? A way for the aliens to track their own. She quickly relayed her theory to Dr. Novak and John. "If I'm right, it means they can find us just as easily as we can find them." John's expression hardened. "Then we'll have to be careful. We can't afford any mistakes." The journey begins. The day of the mission arrived. The team boarded the shuttle, their hearts heavy with anticipation and fear. As they left the station, John looked back, a silent promise to return with his son in his heart. The journey through space was long and arduous. Lucas kept busy analyzing data, while Emma and John strategized their approach. The team worked tirelessly, united by a common goal. The vastness of space was both awe-inspiring and daunting. Lucas found himself staring out the window, mesmerized by the stars. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" he said softly. John nodded. "It is. But we have a job to do. Remember that." As they approached the coordinates on Lucas's map, the atmosphere in the shuttle grew tense. John turned to his family, his voice steady. "No matter what happens, we stick together. We'll find Alex and bring him home." The shuttle descended towards the alien planet, its surface dark and foreboding. The team prepared for the unknown, their resolve unwavering. As they touched down, John took a deep breath. This is it. Stay sharp, and stay safe. The doors opened, and they stepped onto the alien soil, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The fight for Alex had begun, and the Carters were determined to see it through to the end. Chapter 3: Infiltration and Discovery. The Alien Planet. The alien planet was unlike anything the Carters had ever seen. The sky was a dark, ominous shade of purple, and the landscape was dotted with strange, bioluminescent flora. The air was thick and heavy, making every breath feel like a struggle. John, Emma, and Lucas adjusted their breathing apparatuses, taking in their surroundings. "This place is eerie," Lucas whispered, his eyes wide with a mix of fear and fascination. John placed a reassuring hand on his son's shoulder. "Stay close, and stay alert. We don't know what we're up against." Emma studied the alien flora, her scientific curiosity piqued despite the danger. "I've never seen anything like this. These plants, they seem to react to our presence." The team moved cautiously through the alien landscape, their senses heightened. Every rustle, every strange sound made them jump. They knew they were in hostile territory, and they couldn't afford to let their guard down. First encounter. As they made their way towards the coordinates on Lucas's map, they heard a low, humming sound. It grew louder with each step, resonating through the ground beneath their feet. "Do you hear that?" Emma asked, her voice barely above a whisper. John nodded, signaling for the team to stop. "Stay low and stay quiet. We need to find out what's making that sound." They moved forward cautiously, using the cover of the alien flora to hide their approach. As they neared the source of the sound, they saw it, a massive metallic structure, pulsating with an eerie blue light. "That's got to be it," Lucas said, his voice filled with a mix of fear and determination. "The alien base." John surveyed the structure, noting the guards patrolling the perimeter. "We need to find a way inside without being detected." Emma scanned the area, her eyes falling on a small, unguarded entrance. "Over there. That could be our way in." The team moved silently towards the entrance, their hearts pounding. They knew this was their chance to find Alex and the other missing children. Inside the alien base. The inside of the alien base was a labyrinth of corridors and chambers, each one more strange and unsettling than the last. The walls were lined with strange, glowing symbols, and the air was filled with a low, vibrating hum. John led the way, his eyes scanning for any signs of danger. "Stay close and stay quiet. We need to find the central chamber." They moved through the corridors, avoiding the patrolling guards. Emma studied the symbols on the walls, trying to make sense of their meaning. "These symbols, they look like a language. If we can decipher them, it might help us understand their technology." Lucas was focused on his tablet, using it to map their progress and track any signals. "We're getting closer. The central chamber should be just up ahead." As they rounded a corner, they saw it, a large, circular chamber, filled with strange, alien machinery. In the center of the room was a massive, glowing orb, pulsating with energy. "That's it," Lucas said, his voice filled with awe. "That's the source of the signals." John nodded, his eyes fixed on the orb. "We need to find a way to shut it down. If we can disable their communications, it might give us a chance to rescue the children." Discovery. As they moved towards the orb, they heard a soft whimpering sound. Emma's heart skipped a beat. "Did you hear that?" John nodded, his eyes scanning the room. It sounded like a child. They followed the sound to a small chamber off to the side. Inside, they found a group of children, huddled together in fear. Among them was Alex, his eyes wide with terror. "Alex!" Emma cried, rushing to her son. She gathered him in her arms, tears streaming down her face. "Thank God you're safe." John knelt beside them, his eyes filled with relief. "We found you, buddy. We're taking you home." Alex clung to his parents, his small body trembling. "I was so scared," he whispered. "They took us and put us in these pods. I thought I'd never see you again." Emma held him tight, her heart breaking. "We're here now. We're not leaving without you." Lucas stood watch at the entrance, his eyes scanning for any signs of danger. "We need to move. We can't stay here." John nodded, lifting Alex into his arms. "Let's get out of here." The escape. The team moved quickly and quietly, making their way back through the corridors. As they neared the exit, they heard the sound of approaching footsteps. "Guards!" John hissed, motioning for the team to hide. They ducked into a nearby alcove, holding their breath as the guards passed by. Once the coast was clear, they continued towards the exit. Emma led the way, her eyes focused on the path ahead. "We're almost there. Just a little further." As they reached the entrance, they heard a loud alarm sound. The base was on high alert. "They know we're here," Lucas said, his voice filled with fear. John nodded, his grip tightening on Alex. "We need to move. Now." They sprinted towards the shuttle, the alarm blaring in their ears. As they reached the shuttle, they saw a group of aliens approaching, their weapons drawn. "Get in!" John shouted, ushering the team into the shuttle. Lucas scrambled into the pilot's seat, quickly powering up the engines. "Hang on." The shuttle lifted off, the aliens firing at them as they ascended. John and Emma held onto Alex, their hearts pounding. As they broke through the planet's atmosphere, the alarms finally faded. They were safe. For now. A new hope. Back on the Orion space station, the Carters were greeted with cheers and applause. They had done the impossible. They had rescued Alex and the other children. Dr. Novak met them as they disembarked, his face filled with relief. "You did it. You found them." John nodded, his eyes filled with determination. "But this isn't over. We need to find a way to stop them. For good." Emma held Alex close, her heart filled with a mix of relief and fear. "We'll figure it out. Together." Lucas stood beside his family, his heart swelling with pride. They had faced the unknown and come out the other side. But he knew their journey was far from over. As they settled back into the station, the Carters knew they had a new mission: to stop the aliens and protect their home. They were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, united by their love for each other and their determination to keep their family safe. The fight had only just begun. Chapter 4. The Plan for Retaliation. Debriefing and Analysis. Back on the Orion space station, the atmosphere was tense but hopeful. The successful rescue of Alex and the other children had given everyone a much-needed boost in morale. However, the reality of the ongoing threat was ever present. John and Emma Carter, along with Lucas and Dr. Alex Novak, gathered in the station's main conference room. The walls were lined with holographic displays, showing various data streams, maps, and surveillance footage. Dr. Novak started the meeting. "First of all, congratulations on the successful mission. Bringing the children back was a significant achievement. But we can't rest on our laurels. The alien threat is still very real, and we need to come up with a plan to stop them." Emma nodded, her face serious. "We know they're capable of horrific things. We need to find a way to neutralize their ability to abduct and harm more people." John turned to the holographic map of the alien planet. "Lucas, can you show us the map you created based on the signals we intercepted?" Lucas tapped a few buttons on his tablet, and the map zoomed in on the alien base they had infiltrated. "This is the main hub where we found the children. Based on the signal patterns, it seems like there are several other bases spread across the planet." Dr. Novak studied the map. "If we can find a way to disable their communications and their ability to travel, we could potentially cripple their operations." Emma pointed to the markers on the map. "These bases are likely connected. If we can disrupt their network, it might give us the advantage we need." Formulating the plan. The team worked tirelessly, analyzing the data and brainstorming potential strategies. They knew they needed to act quickly before the aliens could regroup and launch another attack. Lucas suggested a multi-pronged approach. "We need to hit them where it hurts. If we can plant EMP devices at key locations, It would disrupt their technology and give us the upper hand. John agreed. We can also deploy a team to infiltrate their central command. If we can get inside and gather intel, we might find a way to shut them down for good. Dr. Novak looked thoughtful. We also need to consider their biological aspect. Emma, do you think there's a way to use the DNA marker you discovered to our advantage? Emma nodded. If we can create a counteragent, something that targets their unique DNA without harming humans, it could be a game changer. John stood up, his eyes filled with determination. We have a plan. Now we need to execute it. This is our chance to stop them once and for all. Preparation for the mission. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity. The team gathered the necessary supplies and equipment, including the EMP devices and biological counteragents. They trained rigorously, preparing for the dangers they would face on the alien planet. Lucas spent hours fine-tuning the EMP devices, ensuring they would be effective against the alien technology. These should create a large enough blast radius to disable their communications and weapon systems, he explained. Emma worked closely with the biological research team, developing the counteragent. We need to make sure it's safe for humans and effective against the aliens. It's a delicate balance, she said. John coordinated with Dr. Novak and the engineering team, planning the infiltration of the alien Central Command. We'll need a skilled team for this. People who can think on their feet and handle the unexpected, he said. As the day of the mission approached, the team gathered for one final briefing. John stood before them, his face serious. This is it. Our chance to protect our home and our loved ones. Stay focused, stay strong, and stay together. We'll get through this. The mission begins. The team boarded the shuttle, their hearts heavy with anticipation. As they descended towards the alien planet once more, they reviewed their plan and steeled themselves for the challenges ahead. The shuttle landed a safe distance from the alien base, and the team disembarked, moving quickly and quietly through the eerie landscape. The air was thick with tension, every sound amplified in the oppressive silence. Lucas led the way, guiding the team to the first target location. This is where we plant the first EMP device, he whispered. John and Emma worked together, carefully placing the device and setting the timer. Let's move, John said, his voice low. They continued their journey, planting the EMP devices at strategic points around the base. As they neared the Central Command, they encountered their first obstacle, a heavily guarded entrance. John signaled for the team to stop. We need a distraction, he said. Emma nodded. I'll create a diversion. You get inside and gather the intel. As Emma moved off to execute the diversion, John and the rest of the team prepared to breach the entrance. They watched as Emma created a series of small explosions, drawing the guards away from their posts. Now, John whispered, and the team moved swiftly, slipping past the distracted guards and into the alien command center. Inside the command center. The inside of the command center was a hive of activity. Alien officers moved about, issuing orders and monitoring various screens. John and his team moved cautiously, avoiding detection as they made their way to the central control room. Lucas hacked into the alien systems, gathering as much data as he could. I've got access to their mainframe, he whispered. We can shut down their operations from here. John nodded. Do it. And download everything you can. We need all the information we can get. As Lucas worked, Emma joined them, having successfully completed her diversion. We need to move quickly, she said. They'll realize what's happening soon. With the data downloaded and the systems disabled, the team prepared to make their escape. Just as they were about to leave, an alarm sounded. They know we're here, Lucas said, his voice tense. Let's move, John ordered, and the team sprinted towards the exit. The escape and aftermath. The escape was a blur of action and chaos. The team fought their way through the alien guards, using every bit of their training and skill to stay alive. As they reached the shuttle, John took one last look at the alien base, now in disarray. We did it, he said, his voice filled with a mix of relief and exhaustion. Back on the Orion space station, the team was greeted with cheers and applause. They had struck a significant blow against the alien threat, but they knew the fight was far from over. Dr. Novak met them as they disembarked, his face filled with pride. "You all did an incredible job. But we need to stay vigilant. This is just the beginning." John nodded, his eyes reflecting the determination in his heart. "We'll keep fighting. For our family, for our home, and for our future." As the team settled back into their routines, they knew they had a long road ahead. But they were ready to face whatever challenges came their way, united by their shared purpose and their unwavering resolve. The Carters had proven they were a force to be reckoned with. And they were just getting started.